Well, this is Jay Hughes with Press On, and I am excited to have as my guest today Daryl Spector, and he is the founder of Customers on Demand. Daryl's background is as a loan originator. He's got over 10 years of experience in this industry, and today he now works with small business owners and specifically mortgage and real estate professionals in assisting them in growing their business and helping them attain more customers. And his business, Customers on Demand, is a lead generation system for loan originators, and it helps place them on the page one of Google using YouTube videos. Mortgage originators throughout the United States have access to Daryl's system, but he only works with one client per geographic area. Daryl helps clients with web design, social media, SEO, pay-per-click marketing, video marketing, direct mail campaigns, and much, much more. Daryl lives in the St. Louis area. He's married to his wife, Kelly, and they have 3 kids, ages 18, 16, and 5. And then in his free time, Daryl enjoys boating, reading, traveling, and good wine. And Daryl, I just want to say thank you again so much for joining me today. It's great to have you here.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Jay.
Yeah, you bet. So I know you work and you have worked with a lot of loan officers. You have a background of being a street originator, and so you understand that side of the business. And I know you work with real estate agents as well who are looking for help with marketing in their business. And marketing obviously is a broad word, but share with us, what do you see as the most common mistake or mistakes that loan officers make regarding the marketing aspect of their business?
Sure. Unfortunately, in this area, there are a lot of mistakes that loan originators and real estate agents make when it comes to marketing their business, and we could probably do an entire interview on just that section alone. So what I thought I'd do is maybe I can hit just a couple of the bigger ones that I see in hopes that it will help some people out and give them another perspective to look at.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sure. Some of the biggest mistakes, number one is, and this is a pretty simple one, but it's the fact that they don't even have a marketing budget set. You know, this is a business. You have to reinvest in your business, and you need to get a return on your investment, your marketing dollars. So the first thing that I would say is, get a marketing budget. Generally, we would recommend somewhere between 15 to 20% roughly of your gross revenue should go towards a marketing budget, and you should set that out as a business expense, and you should invest in that monthly so that you continue to get a return on your investment, and you can obviously pick up new clients and customers that way. So that would be a big one, is just establish a marketing budget. This is a business, and you need to do that.
Interesting. So why do you suppose that is? Why do you suppose that that's such a common mistake, that people don't think about it that way? They don't think about it as investing in themselves.
Well, sometimes, especially over the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 years in the mortgage industry, it's been kind of a tough industry. It's hard to make some money, and
yeah.
We can have a whole other conversation on this topic, but another mistake, and this isn't even one that I was going to mention, is that's where people cut their expenses first, is they cut their marketing.
Right.
And if you cut your marketing, you're giving yourself even less shots on goal to pick up new clients. So that's the first place they cut it, which is why someone may not have a marketing budget. And then it's very simple. Some people may just not realize that you need to set a marketing budget, and those two things combined, can really hurt you.
I think you're right on point. So talk to me for a moment. I mean, your company, Customers on Demand, as I mentioned earlier, it helps clients achieve this page one ranking on Google through YouTube videos. And so I'd like you to describe, both for me and the folks that will be listening to this, what does a page one ranking actually do for a loan officer? Like how important should that be to the average LO that's listening today?
Sure. It should be very important, and not only should it be important, I actually think it should be urgent, because this is actually what's working today. Because it's working today doesn't mean that you're going to get the same results 2 years or 3 years from now, but this is what's working today. So that's why I say it should be urgent. Now, Google, as most people know, is the #1 search engine, and it gets about 80% of all searches. And then Yahoo gets about 10%, and then the others get the remaining portion that's left. And what's interesting is that about 89% of consumers search Google when they're looking for some sort of a business. And of those 89%, 85% of those people never look past page 1. So only about 10% go to page 2, and about 5% go to page 3 and beyond. So basically, if you're not on page 1, and today, we're talking about YouTube videos, but even with your own website, if you're not on page 1, it's almost a waste of time and money to put in anything because, as we just talked about the numbers, nobody's going to see you if you're not on page 1.
Right.
And, with what's working now with Google and YouTube videos, as long as you're on page 1, you don't even almost have to worry about being, #1 on page 1 because your listing, so to speak, on page 1 of Google stands out amongst all the others because you have this big thumbnail of a video that draws people's eyes to your listing, and therefore, it makes it stand out more, and they see it even if you're number 7 or 8 on page 1, a lot more so than all the rest that are kind of, combined together. So I would say not only is it important because it's working now, it's urgent also.
Interesting. So is YouTube critical in that, getting on that first page of Google? Is it because I know we had talked about that before. You've mentioned that on your website that you couple YouTube with Google. Is that what's critical? Is utilizing that that image that you're talking about that YouTube provides? And if so, why is that so critical?
Well, Google owns YouTube. Okay, so you have to believe that they like to display content that's on their, sister site or sister company or so forth. That's #1. So it likes a lot of videos. #2 is research shows that consumers now enjoy or prefer watching videos in regards to some sort of advertising than it is to sit and read something. So that's why, that's why it's working so well because people are drawn to that. That's what they just seem to like at this point. And as far as I think you mentioned, does it have something to do with that thumbnail that's out there? Well, that thumbnail, when we're working with clients, that could be customizable. So, if you had ABC Mortgage Company, that thumbnail that's going to show on page 1 of Google is going to say ABC Mortgage Company even before they even bothered to look at your listing. So, Google definitely likes YouTube, and that's today. As most of us know, that's an ever-changing environment with Google and what they like and they don't like, and that's why we say, it's working today. It's been working for a while. 2 years from now, it may not work. Maybe not a year from now, and that's why it's so urgent to take advantage of it while it's working, and eventually something else will come along that will work.
Interesting. So help me out. Like, I'm putting myself in the shoes of a originator right now today who's probably thinking, Daryl, this sounds great, but I need some help. Like, I need tips. I don't even know where I would begin in creating YouTube videos. What do I need to be talking about? What are these videos? How complex do they need to be? Do I need to worry about lighting? So provide some tips. Where should the average loan officer even begin this process of maybe creating some YouTube videos?
Sure. The first thing I would say is you have to remember that most people use Google, which is the ultimate goal of putting your video on YouTube to start with, as a phone book. So there's not even a guarantee that the majority of people that are going to see your listing or even going to click on your video. So I wouldn't get so wrapped up in the video itself that you say, the lighting's not perfect, it's not great, I don't want to put it on there. Just do something. It's going to be better than doing nothing at all. So don't worry about all of the other stuff. Go shoot a video, in your own office or wherever you find, that it's best to do, and just use a regular video camera if you have to. Make it real and just upload it to YouTube. If you don't know how to do that, it's step-by-step explained within YouTube. get the video uploaded, you have to create a YouTube account and then a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all pretty well documented and shown how to do step-by-step inside YouTube. And then upload your video to your YouTube channel. There are some tips that really can help your rankings to get over to Google. And those are things like when you're setting up your channel inside there's a thing called a URL. You want to personalize your URL specific to what it is that you're trying to do. That's pretty strong tip.
Hey, Daryl, just to clarify, you're talking about personalizing the YouTube channel URL for that particular loan officer. Okay.
Yes, correct. So you want to make sure that you personalize your URL. Google likes that, helps a lot in the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And you also want to optimize what are called tags. It's very straightforward. When you're doing your channel, there's a box that says tags.
Right.
Think of tags as keywords. And put those keywords or tags inside that box, and that will help optimize your video for both in YouTube and in Google.
Searching on Google. Okay.
Correct. And those are some of the biggest tips I would say when actually creating your YouTube account. So again, shoot a video. If you don't have one, go online. Maybe there's a video that you can use. Maybe your company already has a video. Create the account, upload it, personalize your YouTube URL, do your tags real good, and get started. Put a video description in there. Use some keywords in your video description as well, so that helps out your search engine ranking. And those things that I just mentioned to you can really give you a good kickstart, and then just follow the step-by-step guide that they give you to set up the rest of the account. And I guarantee you that you're going to see some results, especially if you have nothing going on right now.
Great tips. Great tips. So just to summarize, we had customizing the URL, utilizing the tags that are in the box, but also, I believe you were saying, utilize those same tags or keywords in the actual video description. Does that sound right?
Correct.
Great tips. So this leads to kind of a natural question kind of on the heels of that, because I'm sitting here thinking, like, if I'm a loan officer, this all sounds good, but when we're talking about online mortgage banking, we know, you and I both know especially, that companies like Quicken Loans, LendingTree, Chase, Wells Fargo, these big box banks or online lenders with this huge presence, that's tough. So how do individual loan officers, how do you suggest that they compete against the likes of companies like that?
Well, companies like Quicken, LendingTree, Chase, they're obviously huge national companies, and they're pulling for business nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
They also have giant marketing budgets, and they do a lot of brand type advertising, which is just get my name out there over and over and over again. Most individual loan officers, real estate agents, obviously don't have that type of marketing budget, so you can't compete dollar for dollar, for marketing dollars. You just can't do it.
Right.
They're also driving traffic online from all sorts of media. They have TV and radio and pay-per-click and direct mail and all of these different medias that they use to drive people online. And so the sheer volume that their online sites get make it hard to ever potentially outrank them on a web page, at least at a national level. But
Sure.
Here's how you could sort of level that playing field, as I like to say.
Okay.
To start with, let's just say that you're a loan officer in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm just going to pick that.
Okay.
For marketing purposes, even if you can do mortgages throughout the country, for purposes of our conversation and for marketing, you need to market locally.
Amen.
So, for example, when you go set up that YouTube account, if I'm a loan officer in Baltimore, Maryland, I may set up a YouTube channel / account that says Baltimore Home Loans, okay? And then if I can do loans in New York, for example, I might have another YouTube channel that says New York home loans.
Yep.
Sort of get the picture of that. So then what you can do is when there's somebody in Baltimore that decides they're going to go to Google and they want to find a lender there in their town, and they type in, Baltimore home loans or home loan lender in Baltimore, there you are. And there you are, probably, if not above these big box companies that we just talked about. You're going to be right beneath them, and you're going to have this, for what we're talking about, this thumbnail that's going to draw the eye to your ad over this, these big box lenders that you're talking about. So hone everything down to a local marketing level, and even if you want to go nationwide, but do each campaign locally and individually. And you will really level the playing field that way.
Oh, I love that. I love what you're describing, because this is something near and dear to my heart, is marketing to a niche, and I think you and I are very like-minded that way, that we've got to have a message that matches up with a very specific target audience. We're not broadcasting that I can do loans anytime, anywhere, any kind of loan for anyone. Right now, what you're describing is a very geographically tight marketing message that's aimed at a certain geographic group. And that is the way, based on what you're describing, that's how you can compete with a big box bank and get on that page one. What a great tip! Thank you so much. That is awesome.
Sure.
One thing too, I wanted to ask you about, is I know in your bio you describe how you work with people regarding direct marketing as well, and so in direct marketing, we talk about this concept of having a call to action, and so describe for us in kind of your terms, your definition, what is a clear call to action? How do we use it, and why is a call to action in marketing so important to a loan officer's efforts?
Sure. And again, this is my definition of it, and it sort of overlaps with another idea, which I'll kind of bring into the same question that you're asking. And
sure.
Really, a clear call to action really is nothing more than telling your prospects what it is that you want them to do. But again, it's closely related to something that's a lot more important. And but just sticking to a call to action, it's just something specific that you want the prospect to do. So, for example, if you want someone to go online to your website and fill out some information, maybe we're going to talk about a pre-qualification form in this example, or maybe they're interested in selling their house, you need some information from them, you have to be very, very specific. And so I know that it sounds really goofy, but research after research shows that people need clear, concise direction, even though it may seem obvious. So if you want them to go to your website and fill out a pre-qualification form, you really shouldn't just say, go to the website and fill out the pre-qualification. You should say, go to www.abc Mortgage, click on the blue button in the top right of the screen, and then fill in the boxes and then click send.
Right.
Okay? Very specific. People need direction. I can't tell you why, but research shows they need direction. But really, to me, more important than the call to action is you've got to have a really great reason for the people to do what you're asking them to do. If you don't, it doesn't matter what you tell them to do, they're not going to do it.
Right.
And I'd like to add in there that you want to give people more than one way to do it. So maybe, for example, you're trying to get clients, maybe you have a way for them to contact you online, maybe they could call you, maybe you have an 800 information line set up. The more responses you're going to get, the more ways you have for people to respond, the more responses you're going to get.
Right.
Because not everybody likes to respond in the same way. If we have a second, I could, kind of dig into what I think is almost more important than this call to action. Do we have time for that?
No, I'd love to. Absolutely. We definitely have a few minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. So here's the thing, is that the call to action, I think, is really closely related to what I just mentioned before, which is the offer that you're making. If you have a really weak offer, and unfortunately most people in real estate, in the mortgage business, and really almost businesses in general, have a really weak offer, and that makes your call to action irrelevant because you haven't really enticed anybody to call you. most of the advertising you can lay side by side, change the company name, and they all say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my name, here's my phone number, and here's my implied message of what it is that I do, and give us a call. So, for example, you could have, ABC Lending, and they say, call us today for great rates. There's nothing enticing about that. Everybody says that they have, great rates.
That's right.
Great service, friendly staff, that doesn't count. That doesn't count either,
Nope.
So you need an offer that's just what I like to call so addicting to people that they almost can't turn it down. It has to get their attention, unlike, any other offer that they've seen, come across. And, I'm just going to pull this off the top of my head, but, for example, if you had something that says, if you call XYZ Mortgage Company within the next 5 days, you get $500 off your closing costs, and you get a chance to win an all-expense-paid 7-day cruise.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody else that may be doing something like that, or you could say, at XYZ Mortgage, we guarantee you easy qualifications, the most savings, and an absolutely stress-free, hassle-free experience. If at any time you feel like we haven't lived up to your expectations, we'll gladly transfer your file to a lender of your choice and pay you $100 for your time. You've taken out a lot of risk in that offer. They have nothing to lose. And just as importantly, you're getting people to respond now. If you don't give people a reason to respond now, today, this minute, I feel like you really don't even have an offer, because it's just open-ended, and who knows when, if ever, they may call.
Well, and really, too, it ties in with what you were describing earlier with companies like, Quicken Loans or, Wells Fargo Bank or Chase Bank. When they're dumping money into their marketing campaigns, it's branding, right? I mean, at least a huge portion of what they're doing is just getting their name out there. And a small loan officer or small mortgage banking company with a much smaller marketing budget than a Quicken Loans, we have to be so much more diligent about the money that we're spending. It's not just branding. We want to generate actual business out of that. And what you're describing hits that perfectly. We've got to have this call to action. We've got to have a reason for them, to compel them, a message that compels them to pick up the phone or hop online and be incented by that offer. Correct?
Absolutely. And here's just a quick tip. I could tell you that from research over and over, and in all the years that I've been doing this type of work, I've found it to be true. 80%, or almost more than 80% of the decision that a prospect makes as to whether or not he's going to call you or even read what the rest of your offer says comes from the headline. Some people never look past the headline and decide whether or not they're going to call you based on that alone. So I would spend a lot of time on, if you're doing, direct response marketing from the standpoint of direct mail, or even headlines on a website or any other place that you want to grab somebody's attention, I'd tell you to spend a large amount of time just on that piece alone.
Just the headline generation.
Just the headline, right.
I know there's books that are written on that topic. I mean, do you have any tips for people in generating a compelling headline, or resources that they should check out?
Not off the top of my head. I don't necessarily have any resources, but what I would say is, if you're working on a headline, or if you're working on a direct marketing piece, or even something on a website, something where people are going to see it, you want it to stand out. You want it to be the focus of the recipient's attention. Forget about your company name. Forget about how long you've been in business. Forget about all of those things. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Sounds bad, but nobody cares.
It's true, though. It's so true.
It is true. They want to know what's in it for me.
Yep.
Not what's in it for you. So replace your company name and address and the years of business, and put something up there that, and again, I'm just making this up, but put something up there that catches people's attention. Even with a low credit score and no money saved up, we can get you into a home within your budget. That's something people want to hear about.
Absolutely. Well, it applies. Yeah, exactly. That's
Right.
what you're describing. It applies specifically to them. It's a message that's targeted to them. So excellent. Thank you for that. Great tip.
Sure.
Um, so as we kind of get ready to close, I just want to see if there's anything else maybe that I didn't ask today, or maybe something that I missed that you'd like to touch on before we close.
Yeah, actually, if we have a second, I'd like to just kind of build upon something you said about the branding, and actually
Yeah.
what I'm going to say, there's two things, but they both tie together. And what I would really say to people is, don't become what I call an advertising or a marketing victim. There are a lot of people that try to sell you different services and different products, most of them, unfortunately, with the idea that this is the magic bullet or the magic pill that you've been waiting for, and this is going to solve all of the problems that you're experiencing or be the answer to your prayers of what you want, for your business. And unfortunately, if that existed, I would have hoped I would have found it by now, but I haven't. And
Right.
it comes down to hard work and discipline, and most of the things that people want to sell you have a lot to do with branding. And unfortunately, it's everything you hear is, well, you have to get your name out there. You have to get your name out there. Almost the next time someone presents some sort of marketing opportunity to you, see if they tell you, well, you can get your name out there. 500 people will see it at the golf course. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Branding is good if you're Coca-Cola, you're Quicken, you're Chase, you're Nike, because they have huge budgets. And here's almost the more important thing, is they're not playing with their own marbles or their own money, right? They're using that. That's not coming out of their pocket.
That's right.
It's coming out of shareholders and everybody else's. So they're not playing with their own money. So you are playing with your own money, and you have to do something that puts money in your pocket today, most likely. Most of us want that to happen. So, but branding itself isn't bad. It just has to be done correctly. And if you do it as a byproduct of the business that you do every day, then you can build a brand within the clients that you're attracting from some other methods. But, when you're spending money to market, make sure that your results are trackable. You can know exactly what kind of results you're getting. And here's one big tip as I'm talking about this that I would really encourage people to do. Create a separate phone line for each type of advertising that you do. Then you simply know what campaigns are paying off and what aren't. Put one phone number on your website. Put another in a direct mail piece. If you run more than one online campaign, use two phone numbers. This way, at the end of the day, I spent, $500 on this campaign, and now for 3 months, I haven't closed any loans from it.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it, And the last thing I would leave you with is don't base everything around price. Don't base it around the lowest commission that you charge. Don't base it around the lowest rates that you have, because people don't always make decisions based upon price. If they did, everybody would shop at Walmart.
That's exactly right. No, I love it. No, and those are outstanding tips. I could highlight all of those. I mean, I think the fact that you're making sure that that marketing message is trackable. That is such a critical component, that if you're going to spend that money, you got to know what is the ROI that I'm getting on that. And I love the tip about, segmenting that out, having a separate phone number so you can really, really track that. And for sure, I'm a huge believer in not competing on price at all. My background was working for companies where typically I sold the highest price. And I believe that you can do that and do extremely well, not playing in that price component. You've just got to have other areas of your business that are compelling, compelling your customers to come and work with you. And there are ways to do that. So I love that, obviously, as well. Daryl, thanks again so much for taking the time to be my guest today. I really, really appreciate that a lot. And I know you're a busy guy, so for you to take the time this morning and visit with me, greatly appreciated.
I appreciate you having me on, Jay, and hopefully what we talked about can help some of those loan officers and real estate agents out there.
I know that it will. I know that it will. Well, if you are listening right now and you're interested about how to generate more customers and extending your marketing reach, and you've kind of had your interest piqued a little bit about maybe the YouTube video idea, I would encourage you to take action. What's something that you can do right now today to take action on one of the things that Daryl talked about, and use that, implement that, and push that into your business. If you need help with that, you can reach Daryl. His company, again, is called Customers on Demand. You can reach him at his website, which is, the URL is getcustomersondemand.com. You can find him on LinkedIn as well. And then also be sure to check out his article. He wrote an article this month in the September edition of the Scotsman's Guide, and it was on marketing, and a few of the ideas that we talked about today are in that article as well, so I'd encourage you to check that out. Well, again, thank you guys for listening, and this is Jay with Press On, and we are dedicated to helping you close more loans in less time.